Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to WNBA Recap. I'm Raymond Wilson Tarpe Jr. Another three games on the docket per usual. All pretty tightly contested games. A couple surprises, but let's just get right into it, man. Indiana and Minnesota. Minnesota took this one 87-80. Minnesota's 5-1 though.
I'm
Like
saying
what?
though. I'm saying
Hey,
though.
it man. Lexi Brown, man, she had herself a game. Had career highs in points, rebounds, and assists. 26, 6, and 9. Sylvia Fowles came back after one game rest. She got right to it, 20-6. Fees continues her strong play, 16-5. Uh, Crystal Dangerfield, solid again. She had 11 points. On the Indiana side, the Mitchells had 15 apiece. Julie Allemand was solid. She had 12 points, 6 assists. Candice Dupree kind of came back to earth a little bit. She had 9. Minnesota eked out a 7-point victory. Just tell me what you think about this one.
Minnesota's slowly just rounding into. We're gonna talk about another team a little bit later, but they found their identity. They know who they are. They also get Odyssey Sims back in like literally a week and some change, uh, which doesn't hurt. Look, man, they know, they understand how they have to play to beat folks, and we're seeing it happen. The other thing we're seeing is some of the players on their team that kind of got off to a slow start. You brought up Lexi Brown. That's back to back really solid games for her. Tonight you mentioned her scoring 2 games ago. She had like 7 steals.
Hmm.
So folks are getting comfortable. Folks are starting to get comfortable in their roles. They're gelling. They're growing. And then congrats to Big Sil Fouls once again. She's the first player in WNBA history to record 1,000 made field goals with 2 separate teams. Yeah.
Damn, wow.
Just
It,
just just want to share that. As for the fever, it's a part of it, man. You know, you didn't shoot particularly well, and that's coming out. And sometimes just be running your offense, executing your offensive sets better. You only had one more turnover than the Lynx. The difference is y'all shot 44 from the floor, the Lynx shot 51 from the floor. And the Fever get a chance to rebound on Sunday when they play the Mystics.
Speaking of which,
Hmm.
Liberty and the Mystics,
Hmm.
Liberty took this one 74-66. They finally win one. Dude, what's up with the Mystics, man? That's three in a row. And they did not look good in this one. For the Liberty, Amanda Zui B 14-14.
Hmm.
Hell of a night. Kia Nurse had 17. Lacia Clarendon 14-6. On the Washington side, Area Powers, continued her good play, 20 points. Emma had her second, aggressive game in a row. She finished with 17. Maisha Hines Allen 12-8. She's just showing that she can be consistent, and she's just pretty much been putting in work every game, like this, showing this is not a fluke. But yeah, overall, not a good night for Washington. What's the deal, man?
I was tweeting through that game. They just look off from the start. Felt like maybe they overlooked New York. Um, and even if they didn't overlook it, their approach, like you could tell they were off from like opening tip. They just didn't look right. They weren't sharp offensively. They weren't really offering any resistance defensively. They I obviously don't have the number, but just from watching, it felt like they lost every 50-50 ball, like every single one for 4 quarters, not even playing. And then their offense just looked janky. Like it was jacked up tonight. Like there was no flow. There's a lot of possessions where it was one pass and a shot, or folks just doing too much. And I just want to give, while we're saying this, I don't want to take away credit from the Liberty. One of the things the Liberty have done since the beginning of the season is they play hard from start to finish every game. And this is one of the games where there was a stark contrast between how hard they were playing and Washington was playing. Even when Washington kind of tried to turn it up and get into it, New York was still out hustling them, just out fighting them, honestly. And, that's kind of what led to some of Coach T's comments following this one. He called it one of the most embarrassing losses of his tenure in Washington, not because of who they lost to, but because of their approach and how they went about it. And I agree with him wholeheartedly, and I think that's even kind from Aerial Powers. After three straight losses, it's it's when do you get mad and start showing teams who the hell we are. So, like, Coach T also mentioned before he talked to the team that two players addressed the team first as well. And I think this is one of those things. This is the team where some of your leaders, that the folks that would steady the ship in games like this, or wouldn't allow you to get complacent, or just come out like this, they're not there, right? So they've talked about going into the season. Who are the leaders going to be? Adversity's here. I'm looking forward to Sunday to see how you respond. Um, I have a good idea who I think it's going to be, but I'm going to keep that to myself. We're going to keep it going for a little while. There was a moment late in the game that made Zowie B blocked him a shot. You know, I don't know if she was talking trash or anything, but I guess Maisha didn't like it. Maisha went to go step up, stand up for Emma. But one of the other things AP was saying was like, that's like one of like the third straight game he kind of came out flat. It shouldn't take someone saying something or for us to get mad to play hard, which is true. I also think one of the things I saw in this game, Kiara Leslie had a very good impact on this game. She's one of the few players that played today that she wasn't part of that group that he was talking about. She might have been the lone exception today of all the folks on the floor. Like even with Emma having 17 points, 2 rebounds ain't it. That's not it. That's less than we're wrong if we're not gonna hold you accountable in that regard. The Mystics got beat on the glass 38-26. Yeah, you're not the biggest team, but you were in the running with every team you played this year with front lines comparable to the Liberty, if not better, at times, because you were scrapping. And I think, I think AP was also talking about like they need to figure out who they are. I think they know it's just those folks have to impose that mentality on a group. So I'm anxious to see who does it, and that's pretty much what it is. Just like it's a little bit of adversity. Like the first 3 games they played with a chip on their shoulder, and it felt like the chip got kind of lessened over the next 3 games, and they don't have the folks they had where you can they can they're not good enough to play without that same size chip that they had on their shoulder. The first 3 games, it has to maintain or get the chip has to grow. It cannot lessen. Like it just can't. They're not good enough to overcome that at this point in time. Perfectly honest. They're not. So you have to play with that type of tenacity each and every game. Otherwise, you have things like this. And like I can't wait to see a response because Coach T, bruh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh man! All right, moving on to the game of the night. The Aces they beat LA 86-82.
Yep.
It was the Asia Wilson and Angel McCautry show.
Sounds familiar.
Asia had 26 and 11 rebounds. Angel McCautry 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. They just did work. LA didn't have NECA, and Simone Augustus was a late scratch. Derek Fisher just said she came to him, pretty much a couple minutes before the game started. It's like, I just can't get it going. And she just didn't want to be out there just to be out there. So,
Right.
So she was out for this one. Candace Parker went off 20 points, 12 rebounds. Sydney Weiss, this is her second game in a row that she started. She got off quick. She had 16 in the first half.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but just too much Asia Wilson in the fourth quarter. Jackie Young, she was huge for them down the stretch as well. And it was crazy because Asia didn't score in the third. She had a hot start, came out and didn't get anything going in the third. Post game, she said Bill Lambert told her she just wasn't being competitive enough, and that was it. She don't need much to get going. So and a little spice in the Sparks post game availability. Somebody asked Candace Parker about the matchup and going back and forth for Asia, Candace said, I only consider it a battle if they guard each other. I was guarding her, but she wasn't guarding me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you know, she's kind of right. But
I
what
mean,
have you? Aces got the win. That losing team is always a little feisty in the post game availability. So that's just to be expected. But yeah, good game, man. Tell me what you thought about this one.
the continuing growth and evolution of Asia Wilson. Like I don't really have anything else to say. The Candace comment's funny. Just pure Candace. I have nothing to add to it. It's Candace being Candace, and that is why. Uh, it's why we love her, right? Because of comments like that. Um, yeah, it was a good game, man. Back and forth all night. Nobody could really create and maintain separation.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackie Young for a #1 pick felt like her rookie year definitely got overlooked by a lot of folks. And it felt like she started to get comfortable turns on this level of just playing her game, right?
Right.
And obviously it helps where she's not being forced to play point guard because that is not what she is. But she came up big down the stretch using the combination of athleticism and touch she had, hitting some tough shots in the paint through contact, some which were called, some which weren't. And then Asia, bro, we're probably a year away from her having 3-point range. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of those long twos, her heels were getting closer and closer to that 3-point line. Like, it's coming. It's definitely coming. I know Bill was talking about her working to extend her range, and it's at first it was just the elbows, right? Just the elbow jumper. She's stepping back, and it's just opening the floor that much more, even without having Cam Page. But obviously, that would be something that would only help them both share the floor better. Help
Right.
their spacing because they're both very good post players. But yeah, it's just fun watching her go to work, hit a lot of shots, and she does such a great job drawing contact and getting to the line. The whole Aces team does. And then there was a stretch in the game where it was just like we got to see vintage Angel for a stretch where it was midi, midi, midi. Contested or not, like it just didn't matter. But like again, not to keep harping on the know who you are thing. The Aces know exactly who they are.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do. It's paintball. If Kayla hits a couple threes, that's cool. Angel, you hot? You hit a couple threes? That's cool too. We're taking the ball, we're bringing it into the paint, and we're going to get to the line. And we're going to harass you on the glass. We're going to fight you tooth and nail on the defensive end. You're going to get hit. You're going to get punched. Like, we're a very physical team, and that's that. And that's why they're 4-2. They've earned that, right? Because we've seen them get more and more comfortable every game thus far this season. And I don't think we've seen the best version of them yet either.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like this might have been one of their most complete games so far.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, even saying that they did try to stretch it out. They had 2 double-digit leads throughout this game, but the Sparks they're just a veteran team. Like something's gonna have to go seriously wrong just for them to get smacked.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't just ever let your guard down with them. Like if Vegas didn't keep up their intensity and stick to their game plan, they probably lose tonight.
Oh, no, for sure. There was a couple times when the Sparks made runs to get it single digits or, within a couple possessions at times.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, man, yeah, that's a great way to end the night. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you tomorrow.